How much effort does it take to maintain a language? I started thinking about this last week because I had been focusing on Turkish for a couple weeks to film 30 days of my progress in Turkish, and it got me thinking, what about my other languages? Are my other languages falling apart right now? I'm clearly dedicating so much time to this Turkish, so what does this mean for my German, for my French, for my Japanese? So it is just a fact that if you spend so much time on one language, you have less time for another. Time is a zero-sum game. If you spend time on A, you're not spending time on B. And it's kind of hard to learn multiple languages literally at the same time. Maybe within the same month, but in the same session? Also, as you wait longer without maintaining your languages, they will deteriorate more. Just like any skill, if you don't use it, you will lose it. Your brain is always trying to learn what it can throw out because it's not new knowledge, and what to keep because it's commonly used knowledge. So when it comes to languages, the language that you use most will remain in your mind. But it doesn't mean you have to do it for hours and hours a day. Think about riding a bike or driving a car. Do you need to do that for hours a day to maintain that skill? No, just a small amount is enough. But you do need a small amount. If you ride your bike every single day, it's going to be hard to just suddenly forget that. But if it's been 50 years, maybe you don't remember. Speaking French, Spanish, Chinese, it's all the same. What is maintaining a language? For me, maintaining a language means keeping the basics in mind while you focus on something else. What basics means is going to be different for everybody. For me, I usually define that as the basic grammar and the most common 200, 300 words. The basic grammar and those 300-ish words should never be forgotten. How do you do this? You're probably going to be reviewing your notes. You're probably going to be looking at some content on the internet, maybe 10 minutes a day. You might do a couple minutes of reading every single day. You could review your words on Anki every day. What matters is there's a way that you're encountering these basics often. For my definition, it really revolves around this word basics. Because think of it this way. You forgot some really complicated word that you don't use every day, like analyze or investigate. That's not a problem, that'll take 2 seconds to review. Now imagine if you forgot how to use the past tense in a language. You might as well not know the language. That's a huge problem. So your maintenance should encounter all the basic structures, while introducing new structures is not that important. So if you're reading a quick news article every day, well, maybe you're not going to go so deep into why this structure is like this, why this structure is like this, just getting the gist of things. What I think is really good about maintaining languages is that over time, you'll find that your foundation becomes so strong that you can never forget it again. Back to my Turkish example for this last month, I think I hadn't really used Turkish seriously in years, but I had been encountering little pieces here and there, listening to a song every once in a while, encountering some Turkish language on social media, and because of this, I didn't have trouble remembering the basic grammar structures. I never really had to review vowel harmony. I didn't have to review conjugation because that was so deep within me that I couldn't have forgotten it. Of course, I had to remember some vocab words that I did know before, but I forgot, like show, send. I forgot some words like these, but I didn't have to spend so much time reviewing basic grammar structures because I had been maintaining it this whole time. In some way, maintaining a language and putting it at a lower priority is kind of necessary on the journey to fluency. Your brain needs time to really solidify things. The opposite of my Turkish example was many years ago when I had first started Korean. I binged Korean grammar. I mean, like, I literally nonstop for a couple months just listened to Talk to Me in Korean grammar podcasts. And I listened to everything that was made up until that point in like a month. So yes, you can say I learned all the grammar within a month, but I didn't really have a solid knowledge of even the foundation. So it took me quite a lot longer to get pretty confident. I needed to do much more output. I needed to receive a lot more input, and that solidifying that maintenance does was very necessary. You can't just brute force the language. You do need to let it ferment. I feel like the best metaphor would be like concrete. When you originally learn something, you're laying down this wet concrete, and most of your job is done, but you do need to wait before that thing becomes perfect. So how much maintenance do you need? It will depend on a lot of factors. It'll depend on how close that language is to your native one. If it's a very similar language and you could already have assumed a lot of the grammar points, you probably don't have to spend too much time maintaining. Because by using your native language, you're actually solidifying a little bit of that foreign language, because you always know that it'll use this structure because you use that structure in your native language. If it's a language that's extremely foreign to you, extremely different to your native language, you're probably gonna have to spend more time maintaining, just because those foundations need to be set a little stronger. But if we're talking about, should I do 5 minutes a day? Should I do 10 minutes a day? Should I do an hour a day? Do whatever your schedule allows. What's important is not the time you spend every day. What's really important is that you spend any time solidifying and fermenting that knowledge in your mind. So sometimes put down the language for a little. Of course, it's great to go super hard. You're going to improve a lot, but you do need time to solidify those great improvements you made. So sometimes it's okay to relax from language learning. Still, if you want to improve, you're gonna do a little bit a day, but you don't need to do 2 hours of work every single day. And if you don't do 2 hours of work every single day, that doesn't mean you're gonna forget everything. But that's my 2 cents. Hopefully that can be useful for someone. I'm sure lots of us aren't studying super intensely these days. Nobody studies for 10 hours every single day, so we will need to maintain our languages somehow. Hopefully this will give you some good insight for that. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more. You can also follow me on my socials, which are linked below. I also have a website at studywithalex.com where I talk about language related things just like this video. But thank you for watching today's video. I'll see you for another video very soon, alright? Hej då!